Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The translation reads like this. Hello, Brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my own story as hidden identity? I am a 21-year-old woman. I was once pregnant and I don't even know what happened to the baby that I was carrying, because 4 months ago, when I found out that I was pregnant, I then told my boyfriend, his family, they are back in the villages there in Chiweshe. I grew up in Highfields, so I started dating this new guy who is a mechanic. When he came to our area and he started working, so he used to give me a lot of money. Then I fell pregnant for him. For 1 month, he kept on telling me that it is impossible for me to move in with him before he had informed his own parents. But the baby was growing, and it reached a point whereby my mom found out that there was something that was wrong with me, because each and every time when I would be cooking, especially chicken, I would feel like I want to vomit. Then I would run outside and go to the back of our yard. Then I'll start to vomit. One day she followed me. When she followed me, she then asked me what was wrong with me. I refused. I told her that I was fine, but she then gave me a pregnancy test and she said, I want you to test it. The first time around, I used water and it came out negative. Then the next time when she bought another one, she said, just do your urine whilst I am here. We were in my spare bedroom. Then she tested and then we found out that I was pregnant. I already knew that I was pregnant and I started crying, because my mom is someone who hit you very hard. They said that when you were 16 years old, you fell pregnant for a man that you knew that was a married man. Now you have fallen pregnant. We do not want to see you here, because at that time, my brother, I was in college. My father, he was trying by all means so that I can stay in college. That was when I met this mechanic guy who told me that he wanted me to become his wife. Now here I was pregnant. And then when I was kicked out of our family home, I then went and I started staying with my auntie. My father came and he said to my auntie, if anything is going to go wrong with her, know that you are going to bury her alone. That was when my auntie said that we cannot stay here, oh daughter of my brother. We need to make another plan. So we then returned back to my boyfriend's house late at night, and they forced my boyfriend to stay with me. But it was quite but what terrified me was that my boyfriend, he said that he cannot share the same bed with me unless we had traveled back to Chiweshe, the village from where he comes from, so that he can tell his parents that he is now getting married. We then returned back to his village. So when we went to the village, it was me and my little sister, my auntie, as well as her own daughter. When we went there, Brother Nashi, that was when we found out that everything there, it was quite different. As for his parents, they really have a very good house, even though in the village, but it is really nice. You can actually think that you are staying in the city, yet they are staying in the village. When we arrived there late at night. That was when we were told that since it was late at night, they were going to celebrate us the next morning. Brother Nashi, when we woke up the next morning, it was somewhere around 5 a.m. when we woke up. That was when my little sister called me and she said, come here, let me show you something. That was when I went to the place where she was busy sweeping. We then saw that there was a big python, Brother Nashi, that was just sleeping there, just resting. It was quite a very long python. We only saw its back. As for its head, we didn't even know where its head was at. Then we made the mistake to run away from this python. We went and we called our auntie who was with us. When we returned to that place where we had left that python, to our surprise, Brother Nashi, we then saw that there was nothing at all. So our auntie told us that since we grew up in the city, maybe we are just scared being in the villages. There is no python. She said that a python moves very slowly. A python cannot like move swiftly like a black mamba. So if it was a real python, we were going to see it since it is quite long. Then later on, when we went to get some water, when we returned back, so it is a little bit of a long distance from the village borehole where everyone gets their water, returning back to my in-laws house. When we were on our way returning back to my in-laws house, that was when we saw 3 birds of the night that were following us. You know, those owls, they were following us. My auntie even said, this thing that is happening, it is now not normal. You said that you saw a python. Did you saw a python really? And then I said, yes, we saw a python. Then she said that this family, I think they are a family of ritualists. But anyway, let us go. We'll just pray. I know that God is going to protect you and God is going to protect the child that you are carrying. These birds of the night, they kept on following us until we were about to reach my in-laws compound. One of the bird, Brother Nashi, it then flew down from the tree as it was headed for me, and it wanted to rest for my stomach. I was really scared. We started chasing it away, and we lost all the water that we had been carrying. When we returned back to the compound, I then told my husband. To my surprise, my husband, he was not even worried. I told him to go and inform his parents, but he refused. He said, that is nothing. In this village, you can see that we have a lot of tall trees. So what do you expect? You just need to know that this is a different setup. This is no longer the city. We are in the villages. So the way that he spoke with me, my auntie didn't like it at all. My auntie then went and spoke with my in-laws, but the same response that my husband had given me, that was the same response that they gave to my auntie. When my auntie came to into that room where we were sleeping in, then my auntie was actually clapping her own hands, and she said, yeah, I used to hear that out there are people that practice witchcraft, but this I never imagined. This is really bad. This family, they are full of witchcraft. As for me, Brother Nash, I started crying because I wanted to return back home. But she said, no, you have to stay back because you are now a married woman. You have to speak with your husband. Then my auntie left. When my auntie left, I swear to you, Brother Nash, that on that same night when I woke up, I had these braids, but when I woke up, I found out that there was someone that was actually removing the braids from my head. I saw a shadow, Brother Nashi, that was busy. The hands of that shadow were busy in my head, untying the braids. I screamed out so loud. And when I screamed out loud, that was when I heard my mother-in-law. She was standing right next to my bedroom door, and she said, shut up. What are you screaming all about? Don't you know that it is late at night? Is this what they taught you? Is this what your mom taught you? You do not have manners, do you? But my husband, he saw that there is something that is just wrong, even though he already knew that his mother is a witch. He then said that we were supposed to quickly return back to the city. When we were on the bus, Brother Nashi, that was when I fell asleep. When I fell asleep, I saw my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law got onto the bus. Then she came to the place where I was at. When she came to the place where I was sitting with my husband, she said, I am here to give you an operation. Just like that, Brother Nashi. When I woke up, I felt that there were some fluids. And when we went to the toilet, when the bus had stopped, because I kept on crying, then my waters broke. When my waters broke, there was nothing that came out. Here I was 4 months pregnant at that time, but nothing came out, Brother Nashi, when I was 4 months pregnant. Currently, we are back in Highfields. My husband, he tells me that all is going to be well, but I don't think that I can stay with him any longer. I am scared. I do not want to be involved in these things of witchcraft, and I do not want to fight any witches. Will I be wrong if I just dump him and return back to my parents? Because As for my parents, they are clean. They do not do these things of witchcraft. So why is it I am the one who is supposed to suffer? Why he didn't tell me that these parents, they are witches? As for my husband, he is someone who has a lot of secrets here and there. He can just mention that in the family, there have been a lot of people that have died, and his mother is always the one to be blamed when everyone dies in the family, because she will do something very strange, like going to sleep in the mountain, then someone in the family will die. Brother Nashi, I do not have the nerves to face my mother-in-law if she is that kind of a witch. I can't do that, my brother. Yo, dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by our dear sister. She then sent another message, and she said that my husband, when I threatened to dump him, he said that when they were still growing up, they would cook soft porridge, then they would go with that soft porridge after they had dished it into wooden plates, and they would leave it at the village gardens. Later on, when it was in the afternoon, when it was somewhere around 12 noon, when they would be told to go there by their parents, when they would go there, they would find out that in the wooden plates there won't be anything, nothing at all. And what my husband said that is that when they were still growing up, their own cattle would actually go out on their own to plow the fields without anyone guiding them. They never went to plow the fields. Everyone would have woken up the next morning, then their fields would be already plowed. This is what my husband told me. I do not want to be part of this family that has these covenants with demons. I grew up going to church, and I want to die going to church. I do not want to be involved with any of this. As for now, my husband said, let's us try for another baby, but I would never fall pregnant for him again. After everything that I saw, my pregnancy, my baby just vanishing from my womb, I will never attempt to fall pregnant for him again. Listeners, right there was the second text message that our dear sister sent to us. If you have never encountered witchcraft, you will tell yourself that there is nothing like witchcraft. But if you have ever encountered witchcraft, you will know that indeed there is another world out there, a world that we cannot see, a world that we cannot touch, but that world is just right next to us.